Right. Cool. Welcome back to KSP Science Mode, episode 14. Doing this remarkably consistently. Yes, so continuing on, we did a inaugural landing of the Munar Lander, which, in the last episode, and we got some science, and we're going to go and load it into the orbital station around the M.O.E.S around the moon. Is the plan. So we currently have that maneuver set up, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to look at getting one of these science labs to Minmus, which I have an idea for. Cool. So let's hit the tracking station to start off with, because we have a Munar Lander with a upcoming. So let's just get straight to that. Cool. There they are. I'm still happy. Yes, we have our maneuver coming up, which is here, and then we have our intersection there, which should be nice, relatively straightforward, and then we have to do a space station docking, which will be fun. We have a... That's quite a... What are these set to? Oh yeah, they're set to like 3. 1 minute burn is not great. I'd probably like 20 seconds, so we want this to be about 3 times as much. So about a 9. And then we can same to this one. There we go, 20-second burns a lot nicer. Yeah, let's do this in the dock. We should be fine for charge because this thing's got quite a lot of charge. To slow down there. Do the last 20 seconds in real time, and then hopefully try not to screw this up. Oh yeah, 0.0 meters a second. It won't be exact, but it'll be it should be close. 0.3 kilometers, which is absolutely fine. So yeah, T minus 27 minutes. So let's see if we can warp to 20 minutes. Is a bit 21. Yeah, let's warp to there. We're on target mode. Okay. 9.7 kilometers. Let's point ourselves retrograde because they do have enough speed to be able to like need to bleed off. So the plan here will be to get within about 100 meters of it, and then try and do actual like docking maneuvers, which we'll be using RCS for. go into maneuver node. There we go for our metrics, which again will change as we burn, but hopefully it'll it's kind of more over there now, is it? Still 7 kilometers away. Just get a bit closer, I think. You can see how our retrograde has moved around whilst we've been pointing in the same direction. Oh yes, actually that is an important point. We have not. Let's put this back up to full. We probably don't need them on full power, but having them on low power and trying to do a maneuver is trying to intercept is probably not the best plan. There we are, they're aligned. And we're down to 65 meters, which is a lot closer than we actually want to be. But our relative speed is still like 22.9, so we should be fine for this. Yeah, so as we're going, this retrograde marker will drift, and we want to like nudge it back where we want it to go. So at the moment they're kind of lined up, but not quite. They're pretty lined up. We do want to slow down though. Looks like it's drifting that way a bit. Yeah, so what's like essentially happening is that we're orbiting at this point slower than that is. So technically, this like the space station is catching up to us, and we're wanting to speed up about like and get to the same speed as it arrives. Um, Obviously, like what's happening depends on your frame of reference. But yeah, it's yeah, we're down to 5. That's it. That was a bit wrong. Let's bring this up so we keep an eye on our monoprop. Because yeah, we're decelerating quite quickly on full engine power, so we'll use the monopropellant to do the last like few the last bit of deceleration. But yeah, I mean, look, our intersect one is at 19 meters, so we'll come to a stop about 100 meters away, and then do our docking, which will involve retracting solar panels, etc., so we don't accidentally break them, turning on lights, etc. A little bit less than 100 meters, because I mean there isn't any. It's not a very big station, so and there's not a lot of it, and the solar panels are like below us, so we should be able to get a little bit closer than 100 meters. Zero, right. Let's get ready for our docking. So we do this one. We have, I think it's at the moment. No, yeah, that'll do. Which one turns on our navigation lights? No, that's the wrong one. Is it 9 for nav? Okay, let's remember my action groups. Okay, so yeah, 9's our lights, and then so we don't really want the ladders. So right, we do want our navigation lights on. Cool. So we're ready for docking now. Let's switch. I can't. I guess remember which action group it was for the that's the ladders, navigation lights. Can we do anything else? Oh, never mind. I mean, it's daylight side of the moon, so we should be fine. So let's switch back to you. Let's rotate to point at target. Let's control from here. Let's set you. Actually, no, we're going to dock to the. Let's set you as our target. And we are going to switch to locked camera, which gives us a better idea of how our translation axes. So essentially, if you set the camera to locked, then your translation axes are lined up with the way you're looking, which makes it a lot easier to. So yeah, we thought we do. We just want to. Oh yeah, we don't need to switch back to stability assist because we want to aim. We want to go a little bit further away from. Come like over here, and then sort of come in from the right side. It's all very nice and slow and steady. So I reckon we can probably slow ourselves back down to 0 here. Probably rotate ourselves a little bit more towards target so we come in a bit closer. Like that. Come and head this way for a bit. Try and line ourselves up with prograde. Make sure we're on landers. So you don't really need a lot of RCS because you're only using RCS to change your velocity. You don't need it to, like, you'll keep moving after you've start moving. So you don't necessarily need that much monoprop. We're almost alongside, aren't we? Yeah. We want to drift to about, so our center of mass is about lined up, because that's what we're going to rotate around. Again, we only need to be in the ballpark. Like once we get close enough, the thing will do the alignment for us. The magnets. And tap. There we go. That'll do. Right. Let's go back to here. Rotate ourselves towards the target. And try and do like a kind of try and get ourselves so we're kind of like pointing the right way. So I reckon we're probably about there, and then do a bit of translation. So in theory, if we do this, we should go that way. That's up, we want to go down. Cool, I think we're pretty much lined up now, so what we're going to do is we're going to hopefully put our solar panels away because we don't break them, because we're not going to need them in a minute. Turn off RCS, point ourselves at target, wait for us to stabilize, and then just gentle puff. .3 meters per second, don't go too fast. And then hopefully this will get us the rest of the way. Then let's be ready to turn off RCS and SAS if we do and there we are. That is a docking. So if we leave this on default, we don't need this anymore. Let's hit 0. This should expand the station's solar panels and not the craft. I'll have to redo that because I feel like I think the but yeah, I think if we leave the station on, oh yeah, we also need to turn off the navigation lights. We don't need those anymore. Yeah, we need to turn off. We need to change these around so that because at the moment, if like whatever's in default will, unless you override it, will always activate if you even if you're another one. So essentially, like I usually leave default for things that aren't meant to be docking, and then I usually have like stations, ships, landers, probes. But I can redo that at some other point. Right now we have to transfer some science. So one of these has the science box in it. There we go. There are the science boxes. So cool. So if we rotate it this way, then we can transfer data to there. Transfer data to there. And that transfers all of that stuff. So that's basically ready to pick up when we when we dock a ship, we can send a ship from Kerbin to dock and collect this stuff and then return it to Kerbin. Whilst this is open, we can we can transfer them on. Just refill these tanks. Cool. And we can close this. Review the stored data. Why can't we put it in the lab? No, we'll keep all these for now. Do we need maybe we need Kerbals in the do we need Kerbals in the lab? Well, let's transfer. Is it Samlin who's the Samlin is the scientist, so let's transfer Samlin to here for now. And we'll is it Macfred as well? So we transfer Macfred to there, so we have got both our scientists. Now the question is, why can't we? There we go. I guess. Oh, do we need someone in the lab to receive it? So let's just grab this and see how much data we have in this. We currently have 0 data. So essentially, these things become data, and then like the science lab works on the data and then turns it into science, and you get like 5 times as much science, but it takes time. So basically, what we want to do, and the more data is in the lab, the better it generates science. So. So we've got 129 data, 204 data, 240, 270, 294. So not even halfway full yet. But we can start research now, and this will start churning out science at 7.1 science a day at the moment, which isn't great, but like it's going to be doing that when we're doing other stuff, and like we'll do like other landings. We'll transfer Lando, and he's going to go and chill out in the habitation module, because that's where the little Kerbals live when they're not doing missions. Close you. We will shut these down because we don't actually want to accidentally activate them, which I forgot to do when we actually got into range. And let's see about refueling. That's the engine. I want the tank. No, I don't want the engine. Nope. Tank. And you. So these are our fuel tanks, which are obviously nearly empty at the moment, and we have this one here, which I don't know if there'll be enough in here, but we can certainly try pumping some fuel in. So that's the idea. Like we use this tank to refuel our lander, so that we can take it down again. Essentially, is the idea. Ooh, and we've passed into the nighttime side. So having said that, the electric charge is still. There we go. Yeah, it's now consuming electric charge. So there might not be. I didn't go around and like calculate the amount of batteries you need to do like a night in the moon. But I mean, if we run out, we run out. It'll recharge and go around to the daytime side. But I think an orbit's like what's our orbital period? Orbital period is 1 hour and 7 minutes. So half of that is. Why did these stop? So I mean, these tanks were nearly empty. So I mean, you can see the like the 360 and then another like 40. So free. So yeah, it's about enough for one or two trips with this thing, depending on depending how much like fuel we use. But I mean, it's nearly full now. But yeah, so an hour and 7 minutes. So half that time is going to be spent in the dark, or like just actually a little bit less because like it's not like a half an orbit where we're actually behind the moon relative to the sun. Um, so it'll be about half an hour, which at 5 per second is what 60 times 30 is 8, 80, 18, 1800, I think, times 5. So it's about what 10. So there should be about enough electric charge. Those are all full now, so we'll be ready to go when we want to do that again. But yes, we'll unpin these. There we go. So I think that's done. They're doing some research. We've got 0.0788 science already. But obviously, like once we do over the course of days, and what we could do is actually I don't think there's much. We could add an alarm to say when it gets to 500, which is here. So at the current rate, it'll take 84 days to generate 500 science. But you know, we're going to be doing other stuff while that's happening. So let's do that. I still need to figure out why this is so small. I have a feeling I've settings, visibility, icon position, space, icon position. I don't think that's. Specifics. Is this? Audio. KSP stock calendar. No, I don't know what it's. I think it might be. No, never mind. We only need it to go off when it's time. But yeah, so I think we're done. We're done here. What we're going to do now is going to get one of these. We're going to land a surface base on Minmus with some science to do. So yeah, we're going to head back to the Space Center for now. And we're going to be designing surface base of Minmus, which we'll be doing in the VAB. So yes, we're going to start with a Kerbal module. Which does this have reaction wheels? I'm not sure if it does. It does have a reaction wheel. That's good. We'll have some extra reaction wheels in the landing mechanism, and then hopefully we're going to remember to hopefully I'm going to remember to these are a bit over this way. Yeah, never mind. I think we can still interact with these buttons even if we don't, even if the Kerbal Engineer Redux is hovering over them. Right. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is we need. So I'm going to try and build this with like Kerbal's being able to transfer in mind. So essentially, what I'm thinking is if we stick a T12 structural tube here, like so. Actually, having said that, I feel like maybe the battery should go in the bottom, because then it's bottom heavy rather than top heavy, so we'll leave that for now. And this is going to be purely a science lab, so we are going to stick, where is that science lab, pop you on there. We'll set our delta V to Minmus, so that we know we can actually land it. So yeah, so now what we're going to do is we're going to stick our, because this isn't going to be like refueling landers or anything, this is just going to be a science lab, so essentially I want to have a means of the Kerbals like departing, like leaving the thing, so I need to check actually and see if I have the, I don't have the inflatable docking, the inflatable airlock yet, so I'm thinking we stick a lander can on the bottom, which will make it so that they basically have a door they can get in and out of. Or alternatively, they can just egress through here and just climb down. That's also a possibility. Which might, yeah. So I think actually, yeah, if we don't have a door at the bottom and they just sort of climb in and out, up the side, then we don't need to worry about them being able to come down here. And we can instead stick all of our power in the bottom. Stick the power in the bottom. So we stick that on there. Let's make it a little longer, and then just I don't know what the day-night cycle is like on Minmus, but we shall stick just muchos power. Because we're not orbiting, we're not orbiting Minmus, so it's going to be like in the dark for an extended period of time. It's probably a bit too long. What we can do is, just to make it easier for ourselves, we can rotate it that way, and then we can just modify it whilst, so we can actually look down the middle of it. So yeah, there might be a bit of clipping, but that's fine. There we go, so what's that, like 12,000 electric charge, which would give us, what is it? I'm tempted to look up Minmus's rotational period now, actually. Hang on. Rotation period. There we go. Minmus rotation period. Okay, so that's an 11. So it's one. So it's an 11 and a quarter hour rotation period. So we can fully expect half of that to be in the dark. So if half of 11 quarter hours is what, about 6 hours, which probably a bit of maths. So 6 hours in, where's the calculator gone? There it is. Calculator. 6 hours in seconds is 6 times 3,600, which is 21,600. And then, well, that is the number, isn't it? 6 times. Yeah, I think that is. So yeah, 6 times 3,600 is 21,600 seconds. That's 508,000. That is a lot. That is way more than we have. We have 12,000. We need a lot more electric. We need a lot more electric to be able to continue sciencing through the night. and we're only like a tenth of the way there. Well, I mean, I guess we can do well. That's I guess we can yeah, maybe maybe we can have it running out of power at night, and they Kerbals have to sleep. So maybe it's a case of, well, let's see, 12,000 divided by 5 is 2,400 seconds divided by. I guess we can let the Kerbals sleep. That's fine. Although obviously the Kerbal alarm clock for this thing won't be accurate because it'll be without power for several hours of the day. But that's okay. We shall learn to live with it. So I can make this a little bit longer. I feel like it's like at risk of being a bit too long there. We can definitely fit some more batteries in if we do that. So let's have a couple more of these, third 1Ks. Give us a bit more time, and then let's find something structural. Shove that on the bottom. We don't necessarily need 8. I think like 6 might be a reasonable number. There we go, and then we put in a couple of ladders. We don't need 6 of them though. 2 would make sense. It's almost going to the ground. We are on Minmus, it will be relatively easy for them to jump and grab these ladders. So we shall leave it at that. We need solar panels, which will go somewhere. Big ass, I think probably near the top would make sense because then they're less likely to get these going to be generating. Like, so long as we generate more than double our expected consumption, there we go. We should be fine. So we extend those, and yep. And not quite on the sides like that. Cool. So I was presuming our centre of mass should be nice and well, not that low apparently. Batteries don't weigh that much. Oh, not to worry. I feel like it's gonna hope we're gonna be landing this on the flats, so hopefully it should just like stay well within its base. But yes, we want a communication dish, otherwise we're not going to be able to transmit the science we research. We only want one of these. So we shall stick this up here. Make sure that's extending in a sensible direction. That's cool. So that's like a basic science pod, isn't it? So now we're going to build something that can land this. This thing, what is it, weighs 6.8 tons. So yeah, we're going to build something. Yeah, we're going to try a sky crane, like, or a top like lander. Obviously with the risk of damaging these solar panels, but unless we stick the solar panels a bit hike halfway down, maybe might be easier. Yeah, that'll probably do. Okie dokie. So let's call this the Minmus Science Base. And then we've got communication. We need a landing module. So we have a decoupler, which will have an ejection force percent at 0. And then we will build our sort of landing module on top of this. So we're going to build the landing module so that the control thing is upwards by default, because we've done that before. And we're also going to be attaching our launch escape system on top of this landing module as well. Would be the plan. So I'm thinking, yeah, we do a fuel tank. Don't necessarily need to be a huge one. But we do want it to be we do want to be able to like mount the engines far enough out that we don't necessarily risk damaging it when we're so I'm thinking if we stick four of these, it's probably still gonna pull them a bit further out, so I'm thinking structural. One of these maybe. Just a bit of spacing really. So center of mass, center of thrust. Although in theory these should stay lined up because we're doing symmetry on all of these things. So these should hopefully stay lined up. But yeah, engines. Let's start with the Terriers because way too much. 31 thrust to weight ratio and 1600 delta V. Oh yeah, this is going to be difficult to land on. So what we do is we go for a slightly Sparks maybe? I don't know. Sparks give us more delta V. 11.52. That's more than enough. Again, our center of thrust is a bit like over our thing. I'm wondering if that's going to be a cause of issues, but I'm still hoping that that it is like pretty much aligned, isn't it? I assume like the center of thrust being above the center of mass is probably going to be a cause of issues, but hopefully not too much. Again, Minmus is quite forgiving. Because I'm wondering if it was more the center of thrust being above the center of mass, rather than it being to one side of it with the rover. But yes, we're going to want okay for this one. Keep an eye on this because I'm going to add some more bits to this because I want to. That's another point. We want a. Actually, no, we have a command pod we can store. We can store the science in when we're not using it in the science lab. That's fine. We don't need to worry about storing multiple copies because we've already got a fair bit of science from Minmus back to Kerbin, so we don't really need to worry too much about that. What I do want is a 2.5 meter payload service bay with some sciencey stuff inside it, so that we can get an initial set of science and basically load this thing up on the way to Minmus when we land. Oh, clicked off it. Hang on. Science. Stick a science junior in there. No, I don't want to become famous. Yeah. Right, anyway, where was I? Yes, so we want that. We want grab one of these mystery goos because we grab one of these mystery goos because we have the science lab so we can reset it whilst it's connected. Grab one of these. I don't think there's any other sciencey stuff we need is there? That's still the only stuff we've got access to. Close this. Let's do our vessel naming while we're here. So this is going to be a base, Minmus Science Base. There we go. Naming priority 10. So we're going to stick our 10.78. We're still fine. We're going to stick a tube on here and put something. Oh, not quite there. A little bit of clipping going on there, but that's more like it. We stick our M.O.E.S command and control. One of these in there. We stick our probe core on top of it. Again, a hex if it will fit. Bit tall, that's fine. Configure the vessel naming. Lander, probe, and then name priority 1. There we go. Because then when we don't have access to it, then we can we should be fine. Okay. I do kind of want to add a bit of just to make it look a bit nicer. We also do we actually have 2.5 seconds? I would think that this is feeding into those, but I mean I can make sure with some few of the pipies. I don't think this will actually have much of an effect, but 16-ton start, 10-ton end, which is approximately, that is 4.5 tons. These are each 1.5, yeah, 6 makes sense. Cool. Right, then we want some kind of cap to put on here. which is again will be a structural component. Make it look not so silly. Again, 1471, which should be way more than we need to actually land. The actuator, we can strut this up as well, hopefully. I'll do. Keep things a bit structurally sound. Hopefully this thing will actually manage to land on the surface of Minmus, but I guess we'll find out. So yes, now we stick our... we're going to actually try and build this thing now. So... wondering if we should pop a ladder in here to make it a bit easier for the transfer process. So yeah, we want it to be on that side, don't we? This is on the wrong side. We want it to be on this side. Just make it a bit easier to transfer the Kerbals after we get to orbit. Okay, so yeah, we want to work on getting... Well, yeah, we need to... Right, so we need a transfer stage, which for Minmus is, if I recall... yeah, 860... 930, 340, yeah. What do we want? About 1500 delta V to get to a 10 kilometer orbit. That should be more than we need. So back to the VAB. So yeah, we need a drive section that will get us within. So yeah, now we set this to Kerbal vacuum because this is going to be the thing that's in space. So we want a 12 coupler. And this, hopefully this thing will actually also deorbit us as well. Let's have a structural. Let's grab one of these. That is actually when we want that to happen. We'll stick again a tube. Stick a reaction. Well, I mean, just be wary of too many reaction wheels. It should be okay. I won't be able to disable them as the problem if I don't have them inside a payload bay. It is quite long. It might be wobbly. I'm going to just trust that the struts help us. When in doubt, add struts. Okay, we're going to need 6 of these in order for them to be lined up with the legs. I'll do. And then we want so fuel tanks. So we're looking for about what? Fair bit of what's our tonnage currently? 16 tons. Let's try this with a giant poodle for now. 1970. What's our 0.7 TWR? It's not the worst. Again, for orbit, that should be okay. We want solar panels for when we're, which I think will probably be best placed up here actually, for when we're en route, along with some communications. And possibly some lecky as well whilst we're at it. Just a bit, so that we have some for when we actually detach. And yeah, a communication dish, Unitron, 1 point. Don't need 4 of these, just the one will do. I'll have 2, just to make it look a little bit less silly. So yes, that 1958 should be more than enough to get us to a one-way trip to Minmus. This might be a bit slow turning, but there we go. Alright, so now we need to get, well, not this thing, we need to get a, we need to add the Freeman launch escape module system, which currently has a make that a little bit less of a silly decoupler. I say less silly, I mean it's still going to be a TD12, but and we're going to have to sort out the okay, let's move these a bit further. Let's move these somewhere else. I'm just a bit cautious of them. Should be fine. Make sure our doors line up. They do. Extend this. Extend this. There you go. Should make for an easy transfer process. We have to check the absolute disaster that's going to be staging this thing. Right. So. Actually, no, we already have stage 4, so we basically want to stick everything that we want to go off when we're getting rid of this thing to stage 4. So, these engines, this decoupler, so that's those to stage 4, which we want to be going once we're in orbit. What's that decoupler, and do we want it? Maybe we want that one to be higher up. Well, to be up here, really. True, shoot. Well, that's fine. Like after that, after this point, these ships should separate. Right. Again, a bit cautious of the thing, so I might just strut this so it's a bit more. I'll do. So much strutting going on. Yeah, I reckon that'll. That should. That's basically our thing. We need to get this whole thing into orbit. And we also need to put a fairing around it. I think we have everything we need. We will just double check our action groups whilst we're here. So abort, which we'll worry about in a minute. We want that to decouple. We should worry about the abort action group later. these into set 1. And then into the default action group we'll have these to extend the solar panel. And these to toggle antenna. Actually no, we don't want to extend, so we want to toggle the solar panel. There we go, right. Cool, and then I guess we can we call set 4 bases. And then we can have this thing to toggle antenna, toggle our solars. We'll have one toggle the ladders. I think it's everything we need, isn't it? Cool, we'll worry about the abort action group in a bit because we need to get this thing into orbit, which now we need to switch this to sea level because we want to assume the worst. And we're going to find the root parts like so and extend this upwards somewhat. Still check our staging from this point, so this goes at the same time as something else, which I'm not sure. What is this? Yeah, we don't want that to go at the same time as that. We want this to go. That would be a bad thing if that happened. And we want to switch these around because we want to get rid of the cap before we get rid of the drive section. TD25 decoupler, there we go. Right, let's see if we can get this thing into orbit. So yeah, where's that one gone? It's here, we want that here. So these engines activate at the same time. And then we want our fairing. Probably going to need it to be full length, or full width even, to get around these engines. There we go. It's quite long. Actually, I'm wondering if catamaran launch might be an idea for this one. In which case we want to... we should be able to actually attach the... yeah, that might be an idea. So for this one, we want fuel tanks. So I'm thinking if we do skippers, we have like I'm thinking if we have like the catamaran and then we extend the catamaran downwards so that we keep like the structural thing further up into orbit. So I'm thinking if we have some radial decouplers, we don't want do we want 4? So what we'll do, make these 2. We do what we did last time, which is the 4, like the asparagus staging style type thingamajig. So structural, we want probably one of these, probably multiple of these, but because yeah, this thing is quite wide. We don't have a long one yet, do we? Okay, so we got the long boys now. And we want to budge them up a bit. We want to stick these in here. We want to stick a couple more of these on here. So this is going to be our like this is 1.14, that's fine. Then eventually we're down to like 0.79, but that's hopefully we're like nearly in orbit by that point. Because again, this is going to hopefully be us on the way to orbit by this point, so we're not going to need all of the and again, I'm hoping we're going to be in the high atmosphere by the time we get here, so we don't need fins on this bit. Could be the hope. But yes, now we fuel tank our way to not that one. Oh yes. Go down to that, then we add a couple of these. Let's keep an eye on our thruster rate is already down to 0.84. Maybe stick a couple of mainsails on the outside, but anyway. We're near the top anyway. Okay, and nose cone. So yeah, we are at like 0.75 TWR, so maybe we want some slightly beefier engine on the outside for this. Maybe, I don't know. Having said that, when 0.43, like we're already at 3,000 meters per second, so I feel like we're almost getting into orbit. Anyway, like with this. I think a couple of a bit more off the pad might be fun. Let's strut these up. Oh yeah, having said that, yeah, we're going to be making these. Yeah, we don't necessarily need these to have, because we're going to be adding more engines, so we might be okay actually. So go to these for a second. We then try Interesting. Okay, yeah, that's pretty sure we're getting into orbit with that. The question is, do we have a? Oh, we still don't have enough thrust to weight ratio. Okay, maybe some main sails on the outsides then. Yeah, so what we do now is we stick because these are pairs of 2. So we have these ones go first, then these 2, then these 4 we can get rid of. Don't need these anymore. We need these as a guide. Let's make sure that it's all strutted up at the top there. Looks fine. Oh yes, I forgot the no, I forgot the separatrons. We can add those in a minute. Yes, so we're going to be so these go first, then these go. So these ones want to go into the thing, I believe. So yeah, fuel tanks. And then these want to go as silly as this will look across there. Okay, that should be enough delta V, and again we're going to need beefier engines for this job. Right. That makes sense, yep, so those go, then these go. So what are we looking at? 1.55, that's fine. We haven't got any I think we should be able to get up with this staging at the moment, I believe. We want to add some fins, but yeah. Let's save what we've got so far. Oh yeah, these things don't have a lot of let's, not sure how much use this is going to be, but because this thing's going to be pretty slow turning at the best of times. But we'll see what happens. And then we need to stick. I say separatrons. I might just stick some. Do we even have the cups at the moment? Yeah. We have the mite, which I think will be the best job. So we. And then we just clip this in a bit as far as it'll go, which is probably about that actually. We do the same for this thing. It looks a bit silly, but there you go. So those two, so we want these two to go with those two, and then these two to go with these two. Hopefully these should be because these mites have these mites have 12.5 kilonewtons of thrust. That should hopefully be enough to push them away. Uh, we need some aerodynamics, which are going to be on the bottom stage now because there's not much point adding a lower stage. We already have, in theory, enough delta V to get into orbit. So yeah. Right, let's just check out abort action. So I'm thinking if we, for the default, we hit the staging, deploy the fairing. These things should already go. We shut down these engines. We shut down these engines. We shut down this engine. We decouple these. Decouple these. Activate these. Activate these. The only idea is like this entire thing kind of disassembles itself, and hopefully our Kerbals fly out unharmed. We'll be hiring some new Kerbals for this job, I think. 2 scientists and a pilot who will be hopefully safely nestled in there. Right now we have to go and do just check the staging because this is going to be an absolute nightmare. Where's our aerodynamic drag at the moment? It's down there. It's well below our centre of mass. It should be fine. So, first thing, all these engines go off. Then the decoupler's going that way. Fire along with hopefully the engines go that way, and then engines go that way, and then the decoupler's going that way. At which point we're hopefully nearly in orbit. The fairing goes. Then we deploy this section, hopefully once we get into orbit. Then we do our Kerbal transfer. We jettison this thing. That's irrelevant. Then we fire that, and the last thing we do is we fire that thing to drop it off. So we fire that, and then we fire up these engines. I feel like that'll work. That should work. What else do we need? Again, quite a big thing, and I think we've got probably a bit more delta V than we need. So I reckon we can probably be a bit graceful on the old gravity turn. Oh yes, we need. I was going to do a little science jobby. So what we're going to do is action groups, default action group. For the custom 5, we're going to have conduct material study, observe mystery goo, log pressure data, log temperature, we can toggle this as well, and then what can we do this one? We can hit collect. I assume collect all will be number 6. And then number 7, can I clean experiments? I don't think I can I? What's toggle converter do? Never mind, we'll leave that. We'll leave. We can do that separately. Because we can use this to clean the experiments, basically. Okay, let's save this thing. This monstrosity that hopefully will be landing on Minmus at some point soon. Let's not bother with the colours. I actually don't mind the Nah, these will be fine. Okay, save, and let's leave here and sort out our Kerbals, who's going to be going. So let's go to the astronaut complex. Yeah, when do we actually get to hire? When do we get to hire more people? That's what I want to know. Let's think. We've got pilots, engineers, and I kind of want more scientists. I don't know how you generate more applicants. Hire everybody. I guess we'll send the 2 of them. I'd rather have another one, but let's go to Sunrise. Maybe it's every. Oh, there we go. We get some more. Brilliant. Scientists. Let's grab a couple of engineers. I'll write it. Cool. So that'll do for that one. We're at morning, so launch pad. We want the Minmus Science Base. We don't want Jeb. We want in the M.O.E.S free command pod. We want a pilot. Tandus. Where's your Tandus? But we want you in the command pod. We want our Dave Kerman, the illustrious. Cool. Let's stick Dave in and put him in the right place, in the launch position. Kirk. Again, I feel like half of these names must be like a bunch of these names must be references. Because we had Lando, we've got Kirk. I mean, it's I would not put it beyond the guys at the developers to have loads of references. Tandu is probably a reference that I don't get, knowing me. So mark command pod, mission flag. Yeah, let's do ESA. Let's go for the default. Why not? Okay, let's launch vessel. Okie dokie. Tandu, Dave, and Kirk. That's that ready. It's the benefit of doing things on hard mode is that we just hire a bunch of Kerbals, and if we lose them, then well, let's hope we don't. But you know, it is a dangerous game, this space travel. So that we are pointing straight up, which is good. I've no idea what the stability of this is going to be like. Maximum thrust. What is that? 1.54. So yeah, we'll leave it. Let's give us a slightly nicer view of our travels. for 1,000. Slightly tilt ourselves up. Over. Don't be too aggressive with this. Don't want to flip. Then hold prograde. And we are gaining velocity, which is good. Okay. We have our apparatus about as far away as we want it. We are able to gain speed, which is good. We switched to orbital. Okay, our apparatus is officially in space now, so we can probably like reduce this, and hopefully more of our burning will be let's go up to 75. Okay, let's let ourselves go a bit closer to apparatus before we okay, let's keep apparatus at 40 seconds away. Ooh, no, we're going too fast. We are in space now, so we don't need to worry too much about aerodynamic drag. But yeah, we want to be getting most of the way into. You see, our periapsis is already down to minus 100 kilometers, so. we're getting to the point now where we're going to want to stage. So I'm thinking if we do... Actually, we want to stage and then... so yeah. Like that. So that those things will definitely... and then we're nearly at... so... Yeah, we want to get this up to just about... Yeah, let's get this thing up until... Let's get our periapsis up to 80 whilst we're here. There we go, 79 to that's not bad actually, circular. Oh, this thing's still going. Wow, this might burn for a while. Look at them spinning. Twirling, twirling, twirling towards freedom. Okay, they finally run out. Cool, so the next thing to stage is the... so we're in orbit, which is good. Next thing to stage is the fairing. Then we want to do our transfer. So let's rotate this around so we can see what we're doing. So we're safely in orbit now, so we don't need to worry about escaping. Extend ladder, and then let's. Yeah, it's almost done. It's almost done. So let's leave the pilot in for now. Let's E.V.A our first scientist. Okay, we've got plenty of light, so let's do this. Hit the thing. Just to go up here and hopefully grab on, and hopefully we can just climb all the way down to the door. And let's stick him straight in the science lab because that's where he's going to live. So he's in the science lab. Let's get our second scientist. Let's get him all the way down to the science lab as well, because that's where he's going to live. And then we just have Tandu. I assume it's pronounced Tandu. Seems like the kind of thing it would be. So yep. Let's hope we don't lose him. Yeah, everything's good. Nice and easy. And then he jumps in here. Right, so yes, the rotation's not so bad. I'm kind of expecting it's going to get a bit wibbly. Because again, we've got probe cores along its length, which means that there's going to be reaction wheels sort of like competing with each other. Where are we at? We're at 37, so hopefully we can get this thing into orbit of Minmus, even if we can't land it. Before we do anything else, let's remember to, let's at least remember to retract this. It's not that wobbly. Anyway, so the next stage is to decouple these. So we will then rotate to retrograde and jettison this whatchamajigger because we no longer have need of it. Cool. And then we will, we're currently on default, so in theory if we hit this we should get our ship. Say ship, sub base. So I mean that was a relatively painless launch actually. I was expecting there to be some like horrendous wibbly wobbly issues, but let's see how it's not bad rotating, like rotation wise either. Cool. So again we've got about 20 minutes, which is probably enough time to get ourselves like at least on the way to Minmus. So let's plot our ejection burn. So where's target there? Set as target. Again, we burn as it rises. So assume we do this on the next orbit. Let's add an orbit just so we're not doing it in the next like minute. But yeah, we need to get this thing out to Minmus's orbit, which is out here. Ew, there's an asteroid. Yep, that's way too much. Yeah, we can do about right, and then I say that, I mean it's maybe a bit more, and then we can we add our deep space correction. So yeah, we want to be going down. There it is, and there it is. Minmus periapsis. So I guess now we try and so that's kind of what we want to do. We want to come around. Again, there's no point actually like making this super exact because the parameters of this maneuver is going to depend on how we burn for the first one. Maybe we can get something to orbit around Minmus, low Minmus orbit, ready for descent, which we'll want to do during the day anyway. So cool, like maneuver 1, which is there's a 1 minute 58 second burn, which is fine. In 28 minutes 29 seconds, 26 seconds. Just what is our second maneuver like in terms of delta V? Yeah, it's on the order of about like 68, so we should be fine. Yeah, we'll have loads of delta V left in this stage. Plenty to deorbit as well. Okay, let's do this thing. So let's, yep, 2-minute burn, which is yeah, quite a long burn considering these where. Okay, so that's a that's a kind of an oscillation, I think. And yeah, it's like drifting. It's like gradually drifting away because their orbits are slightly different. But yes, 2-minute burn, even if these are on full power, because again, I guess this is where we learn if the center of mass and stuff is all aligned properly. It'll be quite a lengthy burn. These guys are ready for it. Oh hey Beastly, how you doing? Yes, it's me, the least viewed Kerbal Space Program gamer on Twitch. we have yeah, we're having a relatively like commotion-free launch so far. Like there's been no wobbles, there's been no like reaction wheels fighting with each other. It's been fine. Like I mean, we haven't landed on Minmus yet, so there's still a lot could go wrong. But for example, I could overburn this, which I'm going to try not to do. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and cut in. Do the last bit just a what? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. They're not exactly right, but there we go. And now we need to. So what's our current thing? Not too bad. Not too much of a difference needed here. So let's get this thing nicely lined up now. Cause no, oh, that's way too much. Let's take it down a notch. I'm going to line up this orbit as well. How are you doing, Beastly? Oh, we want less. 18, 17, 16. Let's go 15 kilometers. This is probably alright for a landing. Alright, so it's a 6-second burn. It's a little bit more than we want. So let's make it a 12-second. Bit more control. We got a 13-second burn. And then maneuver. 3 days and 1 hour away, that's fine. What are we looking like on our... Kerbal to Junior is still like further away than this moon thing, so we might actually be able to research some more parts before we actually need to launch anything to go to Duna. Although I think we've probably got enough parts to manage a Duna mission already. But yeah, I'd like to have a little bit more if I wanted to try and build a Munar Lander, because I think when I did it in my career save, I had access to a few more parts. There goes Kerbal. I got 59 seconds. Not sure if you can even see Minmus yet. We can search for our target in a bit when we've done this burn. 49. We should be able to get in. I think we're about to get into Minmus, into orbit of Minmus, and then we can do our landing next time on Sunday. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe they fixed the wobbles in. Yeah, the thing was, I guess I'm guessing it's actually like having multiple probe cores is probably what causes the wobbles, and maybe the struts do actually help with it. But yeah, let's have a look where we're at. Periapsis is 15. It's fine. So we'll do is we'll set up our maneuver node for capturing at Minmus. We're coming in at a bit of an angle, so let's hit up our maneuver and try and see if we can't get that inclination down a bit. That's increasing it. That's the opposite of what we want to do. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Let's can we fine adjust it down? 3, 2, 2, 1. Let's go back up again. 0.4, that's fine. I mean, again, we just want to be like roughly equatorial. And then can we maybe a little bit less precise here. And the 15, and then let's back up to 1.82 maybe. Yeah, it's going up. We want to go down. Point 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 1. Now let's go back up again. 15.7 to 14.4. I will accept that. 37-second burn isn't the worst thing. But we'll get... 24 seconds is fine. Right, so double check. While we've got that set up, I'm just going to double check something because I'm not sure if I did I do the crew report from this thing as part of the we did not. Okay, that's fine. We'll add that in. Okay, so I think like I'm going to be focusing on getting like Minmus science from this thing. So plan is to rather than warping straight to our thing, I'm planning on like warping to when we're high over Minmus. So probably like just after we've entered its sphere of influence, and basically just we want to get some science on the way to Minmus, and then when we've landed, so it's so we've got lots of science in the science lab. So I think if we warp to here. Cool. We are in space high over Lowland, so let's switch to this thing. Hit 5, and let's just shove all this in the lab. Let's clean experiments. We've already got 111 data already. We'll grab a EVA report as well, so we'll have 10 do his EVA. We'll have him grab an EVA report. Keep it. We'll jump in here. Have him board again. Review the data. And stick that in the lab too. And then our lab has 127 data, that's fine. We will close this and we'll wait till we get to space low, which I guess we'll do that after we've done our capture burn, because we're going to be in space low until we land. So we will put ourselves to our maneuver node. Ah, there it is. We will warp ourselves down to our maneuver, and yeah, we'll attempt. I guess we'll attempt the landing next time rather than doing it now, because we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, and I have other things on this evening. So once we got this nicely parked in orbit, and our inclination is 0.42 degrees. That's fine. We will hit our science stuff. $217 data, 253 data, 277 data, 207. Cool. So we've got what? 300 data already in there. We'll have Tandu jump out. We'll have him report on his findings. Have him jump back in. And we shall review the stored data, and we shall pop that in there as well. There we go. So we've already got some data. We haven't even landed yet. So yes, we are currently in a nice circular-ish orbit around Minmus. I'm going to try and put us down in the greater flats. Maybe even stick us near that flag. But we're going to wait. We're going to have to wait until that's on the daylight side because I want to land in daylight because it'll be a lot easier. And then yeah, we then basically land it. Hopefully, I mean again, Minmus gravity is really low, so I don't think we'll have a problem with. Oh yeah, we want to clean experiments. There we go. So we've got this ready to go. So essentially, the plan will be to do the landing. So we deorbit with this thing. We hit stage, which then decouples this, activates our landing engines. We hopefully nicely touch down on Minmus. Again, the gravity is quite low, so hopefully we won't have a problem with this thing staying on top for a bit. We have it nicely landed on Minmus. We do the science, bunch of science. We load it in there, and then we stage and launch this thing off back in to go crash somewhere, and then we'll have this lovely little base. Which again, I haven't done bases before, so this is the first time I'm landing a base. Then hopefully the plan will be to expand this by trying to land other things near it. I'm going to think about like a habitation module, and eventually a little kind of like mini lander type sort of hopping if you ever see, I think it's on Captain Scarlet, I think, when they have the moon base and they have that like craft that does like it jumps with like legs across the moon surface. I want to try and build something like that, but for Minmus. Although rather than using I could try and do it with robotics and have like legs sort of like propel it forwards. Obviously, that would be much of a way of steering it. But the general idea is, I guess you could have the legs so that if the legs are able to launch it, then I'll probably have just use RCS controlled thrusters, or maybe some burner engines. The idea being that we could sort of fly around different biomes, pick up some science, bring it back for the lab. Is my plan. But yeah, we've just crossed the 2-hour mark, so I think this is probably a good place to leave it. So Sunday we'll be landing the Minmus science base, getting started on processing some science, and then we'll be looking at what to do next, which will probably be starting to look at, because once these labs are generating science, we can fast forward to doing a Juno mission, etc. So what we'll do is we'll fast forward to try and get the science out of these things, try and buy some more parts, and then build and launch our components for a flight to Juno. Let's head back to the Space Center. Leave those guys in orbit. We shall save our game. Quit to menu. And so that will conclude our session this evening. We've successful rendezvous with the Munar orbiting station with the Munar Lander. We designed, built, and launched a landed base for Minmus, which was currently in orbit, and we'll be landing that first thing next time. So yes, thank you everyone for whoever is actually watching, or if you're watching on YouTube, then thanks for sticking with me for 2 hours. But yeah, otherwise, yeah. Hope you all had fun. Cheerio.